Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now the Home Office released certain figures around immigration and I would like you to have a look.
80% of them get new visas and go on largely to work. So there's that student side of things. Are people getting into the country nominally to be students, but then very quickly going on to work? It looks like it, and we're starting to see that in the figures. And then you've got the question of what jobs people are doing when they're coming in officially on those work visas. And it's often the way, isn't it? Politicians say, look, I'm in favour of migration as long as it's skilled migration. Well, is that what we're getting right now? This is skilled workers, and we're going back again here, the last few years here. There's temporary workers, so they're less skilled workers. What's striking here is during the pandemic, that's just other skilled workers, and that's health and care. Look at how high health workers, that's nurses, social care workers, look how high that got just in the wake of the pandemic. But even more strikingly, look at how much it's come down. So that's come down so much now that although there's been all this focus on skilled workers and skilled visas, actually temporary work visas are higher than those courses, those routes into the country. Now, small boats, I mentioned.
Now, based on the statistics, we can see that there was a massive number of students moving on the health and care visa at some particular point, which obviously was expected because that was the easiest route for most people who come into the UK on the student visa to move on the work visa, basically, in order to keep them in the country and being able to live and work in the United Kingdom. However, from the video you just watched, you would see that there's now a massive dip in the number of people moving from the student visa to the health and care visa. The opportunity is no longer there for obvious reasons. Some of the immigration policies that has been put into place, not being able to bring independent, employers being required, not to employ people who are on the student visa, asking employers to ensure that they, first try to employ British citizens before making an attempt to employing people who are non-British citizens. So many policies, employer being asked to ensure that they only sponsor workers or employees who have worked with them for at least 3 months. I mean, there's so many policies that have been put into place that restrict international students to switch into the health and care visa. So it's expected that number that you saw in the graph dipped, basically. So most people are no longer moving to the health and care visa anymore. However, one thing that really caught my attention on that particular graph was the number of people who move to working on temporary roles. Now, if you look at the chart properly, you'll see that the graph basically shows the number of people the kind of job that immigrants are doing. There's a spike in temporary worker compared to other skilled routes, which is expected, to be honest, because what happens is when international students move into the UK, the readily available jobs are oftentimes temporary roles. They are roles that you get to do as a temporary worker and then move on because of the commitment that international students are unable to make on the job. So if you come in as a student, you're allowed to only work for 20 hours. Now, there's no permanent or full-time job that would only allow you to work 20 hours a week. So the only job international students get to do are temporary roles. And you would see that from that chart, there's been like a very interesting downward spike on the skilled worker route. In 2024-2025, the figures went down, and that's also for obvious reasons. The new policies, the new salary threshold requirements, people not having the appropriate skills to get in on the job that can provide the skilled worker visa. The health and care visa has always been like an escape route for many international students, but now in 2025, it's no longer an option. And people are finding it difficult. I mean, I've had chats and conversations with loads of international students who are currently on the posted work visa, whose visa will be expiring soon. However, they really don't have any laid out plan on what visa they're going to go on, what job they're going to get, basically have no solid plan. And this is why I tell people that if you're in the UK on the skilled on the student visa or the posted work visa, you definitely want to upskill. Now, I've said this 1,001 times. You need to upskill. If you have the right skill set, employers will be willing to offer you a job. Now, I'm going to give you an instance. I had a chat with a lady late last year. That was in 2024, and we had a conversation about she trying to get into a job role because her postdoc visa was going to expire soon. And what she did was she learned data engineering. And in as much as I was like, data engineering was going to be tough, but she was a very, very committed person. And the reason she learned data engineering was because on her job role, she worked as a customer service representative. On her team, the organization was looking for a data engineer. And because they had to, most organizations, they put their vacancy out there. So the company decided to, they were already having a conversation within meetings that, in the next couple of months, they're going to, push out for a vacancy for a data engineer. And what this lady did was, in as much as she had like limited skills in data engineering, she started, having conversations about, with her manager, with other members of the team. I can do this. She started taking up some simple stuff while getting trained with TechDrive. So she jumped on, the data engineering training we did late last year, and she was learning at the same time. What she was learning on the training, she was using it to help the team in a way on data engineering related work, running automation on Python, writing SQL codes to extract data. She was doing lots of stuff, data engineering, creating ETL pipelines, everything she was learning on the training, she was practicalizing it on the job. Even though that was not a job role, but she was able to kind of, show to them that she has a skill set in a way. Now, fast forward to early this year, that was after Christmas in January, the company finally decided to push out the vacancy, and she applied. Obviously, she got, we did the CV, make sure it's well tailored. We jumped on, couple of conversations with her when the interview invite came, and to cut the long story short, she eventually got the job. Now, this is the part that made the whole situation interesting. Now, the company doesn't sponsor. It's a private company, so they don't sponsor. And because of this lady, do you know what they did? The company applied for a license to sponsor. Because of the same lady, they paid her, IHS fee, paid for her visa, of course, with the condition that she needs to work with the company for at least 3 years. If not, she'll need to refund the cost they incurred. However, the point basically is because she has the skill set they need, and it's an in-demand skill set for the organization. They went through all of the hassle to getting the license because of her. They went through the hassle of paying. Even it was the company's lawyer that did the whole application. All she did was to provide all the documents that they needed for the application, and they sorted all of that out. So the point I'm making basically is, I understand that there are limited job opportunities. There are limited organization willing to sponsor, but the sincere truth is that if you have a skill that the company is in need of, they're going to go through miles. They're going to go through a whole lot to keep you and sponsor you. I've had situation of people who got job offers with organizations for a role that they sponsor, but the salary for the role was not enough for sponsorship. And I've seen company increase salary even after an offer has been made, just to meet the requirements. Now, this is not a common situation. However, if you have a skill that is in demand, you're definitely going to, get an organization that will be willing to go through the hassle of providing that visa sponsorship. And by the way, if you're looking at learning data and you're clueless on how to go about it, for those who've been following me for a while, we've shared loads. We've had over 100 job offers since TechDrive started about 2 years ago. And all of the job offers came for people who have never done anything data before. And if you're looking at learning data, we have a training starting on the 25th of October 2025. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this training. All you need to do is to drop an email to info@techdriveuk.com, or you drop a WhatsApp message to the number displayed on your screen right now. On the training, you're going to be taught how to use advanced Excel functions to create automated reportings. You're going to be taught how to create ETL pipelines on SSIS, interrogate and manipulating of data using your SQL, and ultimately creating business intelligence report on Power BI. Now, aside from the technical bit, we also help you work on your CV. We provide some level of mentorship to help you landing your first data analytics role here in the UK. We also help you work on a couple of projects, which you then use to create your portfolio towards the end of the training. And most importantly, you get to have that UK work experience on your CV, which ultimately gives you competitive advantage on your next job application. If you're looking at getting into data, go on any of the job board or job websites in the UK. There are loads, hundreds, thousands of data related roles here in the UK and outside the United Kingdom. You definitely want to leverage on this new wave of opportunities within the data space. All you need to do is to send an email, drop a WhatsApp message to the number and the email displayed on your screen right now. So that is going to be the end of this video. If you're coming across my channel for the first time, my name is Daniel. I share everything UK immigration, transition into tech and personal finance on this channel. You might want to hit on the red subscribe button below to join the amazing growing family. And for my 20 subscribers, thank you guys for being here. I really do appreciate you guys. So this will be the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you.